Hey everybody, in this third and final tutorial, we're going to model this part. The most efficient number of sketches we can make this part in is 3, and we're going to be using the subtractive method to model it. So this part is a little bit different. I'm going to start off by identifying the front view of my object, which I can see is this L shape. So instead of working with a rectangular prism and removing this large section and then these two other sections here, I'm going to go ahead and save us a step by modeling this L shape first. So the overall height of my object is 2.5 inches. My overall width is 2.5 inches. And then my overall depth here is 3.5 inches. So if I start my 2D sketch on my XY plane, I'm going to use my line tool to start at my origin and trace out the general shape of that L. You know what, I'm actually going to go the same way as the pictorial. So at this point, I'm not adding in any dimensions. I'm just making the rough shape. So once I go to my dimension tool, my overall height here is 2.5. This is going to get really big. My width in this case is 3.5. I'm going to have to zoom out to find that again. This width here at the top of my L can be seen here. That's 1 inch. And I have this height here as also being 1 inch. So I don't need this segment because I already have my overall height here of 2.5. And since I have this 1 here, this dimension is already assumed. Again, if you're not sure if you have it all there, check down here to make sure that your part is fully constrained. So what I can do now is I'm going to right click and I'm going to finish my 2D sketch. And I'm going to go to my Create tab, add my Extrude feature, and I'm going to extrude this part out to give it a bit of dimension. So I can see that my total extrusion amount is going to be 1.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5. So we're going to go ahead and type in 2.5 inches. Now, right now, we're looking at the back of my part. This is not the correct view that you want to be looking at it in. So you can use your view cube here to rotate to make sure that you're looking at the right face. The first section that I'm going to extrude is going to be this part up here. Again, there's a couple of different faces that you can extrude this from, either the top or the front or the back. I'm going to start a new 2D sketch on this front face and tackle it that way. So I'm going to use my rectangle tool. And it's really important at this point that I align my cursor, or this plus sign, right here at the top of my part, so this rectangle locks into place. I'm going to right click and say OK to finish that command. If I go to my dimension tool, I can dimension this width to be 1.5. And I know the height of this rectangle is also 0.5. Now, those are my two size dimensions for this rectangle. But what I need to do next is I need to go in and do my location dimensions. So to do that, I'm going to click on this vertical side of my rectangle and click on the edge of the part and make sure that's dimensioned to 0.5 inches. And if I do the same thing on the other side, it's going to give me a driven dimension warning because that dimension is already assumed. So if I click on it and you get this error, go ahead and just say cancel. So from here, I can right click and finish my 2D sketch, go to my extrude feature, select my profile, and make sure I flip the direction. So again, in this case, I don't necessarily need to specify a distance because it's going through the entire part. So I can go ahead and say OK and amend that extrusion. So let's go ahead and do this final extrusion down here on this base piece. You can make the 2D sketch from this plane or this plane. I'm going to go ahead and make it on the top. And again, I'm going to use my rectangle tool and align my cursor with the edge of the part and draw out the general shape. Right click to say OK. I'm going to go to my dimension button, and I can see here that my overall width of that part is 0.5 inches. So I can either click on either side of this part and say 0.5, or you can simply click on this segment here. Now you can see after I dimensioned that, it offset this quite a bit. So I want to go ahead and add in my location dimension of 1 inch. So we'll go to dimension, click on the edge of my part, click on the edge of the shape, type that in as 1 inch for my location dimension. And now I need to add just one more dimension right here, which is the length of this part, and make sure I have that in there as 1.5. So at this point, my object is fully constrained. I don't need to add any more dimensions. So I can right click and finish my 2D sketch, go to my extrude feature, change the direction of my extrusion to make sure it turns red and it's cutting through my object, and I can say OK. To check the eye properties, you're going to right click on part 3, go down to eye properties, go over to physical, click update, and your volume is going to show as 11 cubic inches, which also checks out here in the answer key. Thank you so much for watching.